Welcome, dear friends, to Zen Whispers. Today, we confront a challenge that touches every one of us. Why are some habits so difficult to break? Why do we find ourselves repeating patterns we know no longer serve us? We often approach this struggle with force and self-criticism, but Buddhist wisdom offers a different path. A path of gentle awareness, compassionate acceptance, and deep transformation. This isn't about willpower or punishment, but about understanding the very nature of our minds. It's about finding freedom not by fighting our demons, but by shining a light on their true form. Let us begin with a story. A simple tale that illuminates these ancient truths and guides us toward liberation from our own cycles. In a valley nestled between two great mountains lived a young artisan named Kael. His hands were skilled, and his heart was full of good intentions. He was a potter, and his pots were known throughout the village for their beauty and balance. Yet Kael carried a secret sorrow. Whenever he felt overwhelmed by a challenge, he would retreat into a small, dark corner of his workshop. There he would find solace in a jar of sweet, intoxicating honey wine, drinking until the pressures of the day melted away. The habit began subtly, a small comfort at the end of a long day, but soon it grew, an unshakable shadow that followed him. He would wake with a foggy mind and shaky hands, unable to create the beautiful vessels he once did. He hated this weakness. He would swear to himself, "Today will be different. Today I will not drink." But as surely as the sun set, the familiar feelings of stress and self-doubt would return. And with them, the magnetic pull toward the small, dark corner and the jar of honey wine. Kael felt trapped, a prisoner in his own mind, watching himself repeat the same painful cycle. One evening, while sitting by the river, lost in his despair, an old monk from a nearby monastery sat beside him. "Your spirit is troubled, young Kael," the monk said gently. "I can see the struggle raging within you." Kael sighed. "I have a habit, elder, a terrible one. I try with all my might to stop, but I always fail." The monk smiled. "You are not failing, Kael. You are simply fighting a shadow with a club. You must learn to use light instead. A bad habit is like a tangled vine. You cannot pull it out by force, for the roots are deep and the effort only tears at the soil. The more you fight it, the stronger its hold becomes. This is the first noble truth. The source of suffering is craving and aversion. You crave the momentary comfort of the honey wine, and you feel aversion to the pain and stress that precede it. But the habit itself is not the enemy. The habit is a symptom of a deeper wound. What is the true nature of your stress, Kael?" Kael thought about it. The stress came from a fear of not being good enough, a fear of his pots not meeting his own high standards. It was a feeling of unworthiness that drove him to seek an escape. The honey wine was simply a momentary balm. "The habit is the smoke," the monk explained, "but the fire is the belief that you are not enough. It is the root of the vine. To break the habit, you must tend to the fire. You must learn to sit with the feelings of unworthiness without running away. He continued, "This is the practice of mindfulness. Instead of reacting, you must observe. The next time the urge arises to drink, go to that dark corner, but do not pick up the jar. Just sit. Observe the craving like you would a cloud passing in the sky. Notice the physical sensations, the tightness in your chest, the restlessness in your hands, the thoughts that whisper. Just one time. Do not judge them. Do not fight them. Simply watch them with the quiet curiosity of an observer." The monk then gave Kael a small, smooth stone. "Hold this stone, Kael. It represents your awareness. When the craving comes, hold the stone. Feel its weight. Focus your mind on its smoothness. Let this be your anchor to the present moment." Kael returned to his workshop and began to practice. The first night was unbearable. The urge was a raging river, and the stone felt like a small, powerless pebble in his hand. He almost gave in, but he remembered the monk's words. Just sit. Just observe. He sat in the dark corner, holding the stone, and watched the craving rise and fall like a wave. And for the first time, he saw something new. The craving was not a permanent part of him. It was impermanent. It came, it peaked, and then, slowly, surprisingly, it began to subside. Each night, the practice became a little less difficult. He was no longer fighting. He was simply watching. And as he watched, he began to see the deeper feelings beneath the craving. The fear of failure, the pain of criticism, the pressure to be perfect. He began to extend compassion to these feelings, to the part of himself that felt so unworthy. He started to whisper to himself, "It is okay to feel this. It is okay to be imperfect. You are worthy, even in your struggle." He was no longer judging the feelings or himself. He was simply holding them, like a parent holds a scared child. The honey wine remained in the corner, untouched. The urge still came, but its power over him was gone. The tangled vine of the habit had not been ripped out. Its roots were still there, but Kael had stopped watering it with aversion and self-hate. He was nurturing a different kind of garden now, a garden of self-awareness and self-compassion. The first is that a bad habit is not the problem. It is the symptom. We often try to fight the symptom, the drinking, the procrastination, the scrolling on our phones, with sheer willpower. But this is like trying to sweep back the tide. The deeper root of the habit lies in our unaddressed emotional pain. The loneliness, the fear of failure, the anxiety, the feelings of unworthiness. The habit is simply an unskillful way of coping with these deeper, more painful feelings. Second, we learn the power of mindfulness and observation. We are so often lost in our thoughts and emotions that we identify with them. We become the anger, we become the sadness, we become the craving. But mindfulness allows us to create a space between ourselves and our feelings. We are not the cloud. We are the sky. When we practice observing our cravings and emotions without judgment, we realize they are impermanent. They rise and fall, just like a wave. By simply watching them, we learn they do not have the power to control us forever. Third, we must cultivate self-compassion. We can be our own harshest critics. We beat ourselves up for having the habit, which only feeds the fire of unworthiness that drove us to it in the first place. Compassion is the soothing balm. It is a gentle hand on a wounded heart. When we offer ourselves kindness, understanding, and forgiveness, we begin to heal the deeper wounds. The habit then loses its purpose. It's no longer needed as a form of escape because we are no longer running. Finally, this story reminds us that true change comes from detachment, not from struggle. Kael did not force himself to stop drinking. He detached from the feeling of the craving. He let go of his attachment to the idea that he had to be perfect and that his feelings were bad. In letting go, he found a power far greater than willpower, the power of an awakened, compassionate heart. This is the true path to breaking a bad habit. It is not a battle to be won, but a garden to be tended with care. The next time you feel the pull of a bad habit, pause. Don't act on the impulse. Instead, turn your attention inward. What is the feeling that came before the urge? Is it stress, loneliness, sadness? Acknowledge that feeling with gentleness, not with criticism. Say to yourself, I am feeling lonely, and that is okay. Then take a deep breath. Focus on a single object in the room or the sensation of your feet on the floor. Let this be your stone, your anchor to the present moment, a moment where the habit does not exist. Kael's journey did not end with breaking the habit of honey wine. Once he was free, he found himself a new challenge. His old fears of unworthiness had been the true fire. Without the smoke of the habit, he could see them clearly. He found that he was not just afraid of his pots being imperfect. He was afraid of his own imperfection. He was attached to the identity of being a perfect potter, and that attachment was a new source of suffering. One day, while working at his wheel, a beautiful pot he was crafting began to wobble and tilt. In the past, he would have felt a surge of panic, an intense frustration that would lead him to the honey wine. But now he simply paused. He took a deep breath, and he noticed the feeling of disappointment. He did not fight it, he simply observed it. And in that observation, he saw the foolishness of his attachment. He realized that his self-worth was not tied to the perfection of a pot. His worth was inherent. He was a part of the world, just as the river and the mountains were, and his value was not something he had to earn. With a new sense of freedom, he gently reshaped the wobbly clay. He did not force it into a perfect shape. Instead, he let it have its natural curve, its slight imperfection. The final pot was not a perfect cylinder. It was beautifully unique, a testament to its journey, to the moment it was almost lost, but was instead accepted. This is the second, deeper layer of breaking a habit: emotional growth. A habit is a symptom, but the cure is not just in stopping the action. It's in healing the underlying pain. Kael had to let go of his attachment to being perfect in order to be truly free. The final pot was more valuable because it was an honest reflection of its journey. Just as our own lives, with all their bumps and wobbles, are more valuable because of their imperfections. First, the habit is not the enemy. The enemy is our emotional pain, our unhealed wounds. The habit is simply the desperate cry of a part of us that doesn't know how else to cope. Instead of fighting the habit, we must turn to the part of us that is hurting and offer it kindness. Second, true freedom is found in detachment. It is the letting go of our rigid expectations of ourselves and others. When we release the need to be perfect or to control the outcome, we create space for a deeper peace to settle in. This is the heart of impermanence in action. We are always changing. Our emotions are always changing. The cravings we feel today are not the cravings we will feel tomorrow. They are not a part of our core. Our habits are not our identity. They are simply patterns of behavior that can be changed with awareness. The third lesson is the power of self-worth. Our worth is not tied to our productivity, our perfection, or our lack of bad habits. Our worth is inherent, just like the worth of the mountains and the river. It is a gift we are born with. When we truly believe this, the need for a crutch to escape our feelings of unworthiness disappears. We can sit with our feelings, even the difficult ones, knowing that they do not diminish our value. So to finally stop a bad habit, the path is not one of struggle, but of surrender. Surrender to the feelings you have been running from. Sit with them, observe them, and offer them a gentle hand. Surrender to the truth of your own imperfections, knowing that they make you perfectly human. And surrender the belief that a habit defines you. It does not. Your essence remains untouched. May you find the courage to face your shadows, not as a warrior, but as a friend. May you cultivate the gentle awareness that allows you to see the true nature of your habits. And may you be filled with a deep and lasting inner peace, knowing that you are whole, just as you are. Now, let's take a moment together to reflect on this teaching. Find a comfortable position. Gently close your eyes or soften your gaze. Take a deep, slow breath in through your nose. and exhale slowly through your mouth, releasing any tension you may be holding. Breathe in peace, breathe out any lingering hurt or anger. Inhale calm, exhale tension. Bring to your mind a habit you wish to break. Acknowledge it without judgment. Notice the feeling that usually triggers the habit. Is it stress, boredom, loneliness? See if you can simply sit with that feeling for a moment. Don't act on it, just observe it. Recognize that the feeling itself is impermanent. It will not last forever. Now offer yourself some kindness. Place a hand on your heart and say to yourself silently, I am struggling with this habit, and that is okay. I am worthy of peace and compassion just as I am. Allow yourself to feel the truth of those words. Your worth is not tied to your habits. You have the power to let go of the struggle and embrace the path of gentle awareness. When you are ready, gently open your eyes. Carry this sense of self-compassion with you throughout your day. Remember the story of Kael. The path to breaking a habit is not a battle to be won. It is a journey of healing, of self-discovery, and of compassionate surrender. Thank you for joining us on this journey. We hope this wisdom offers you a path toward inner peace. Join us next time on Zen Whispers for more lessons on living a life of peace and purpose.